Silent Hill F is the first original entry we really had in the series for 12 years, even if some may say it isn't a Silent Hill game because it isn't set in Silent Hill. I'm gonna stop you morons right off the bat. If you play 3 or 4, neither of them are initially set in Silent Hill, okay? Heather starts off in some mall, and she's not even home yet. And she starts seeing monsters and fog, so guess what? She's not in the place where you think you have to be to go through this stuff. But it turns out it's like actually the second half of the game? How confusing. And then Silent Hill 4, this guy is like, he's locked in his apartment or something, but like he ends up going to like this other dimension, man. And then you know, later on, like he has to go to the actual town, you know, but like that's the thing these two games have in common is that like at least half of the game isn't even set in the fucking town. But guess what? Team Silent has actually made them anyway. Like these are the original team behind these games. So you know what I mean? They know what they're doing. What I don't understand is just this wave of negativity for no reason at all. I guess because a game is new, it has to be shit on entirely for no reason at all. Because it's just moving goalposts from one issue to another. If you talk to someone about that issue, they'll say, "Oh well, okay, fine, whatever." But then what about the actual message of the game? Because it's following a woman and, you know, their place in society, how they come to terms with themselves, you know, a woman's perspective, right? So really, the best Silent Hill to compare this to is Silent Hill 3, which if it came out again today, this same exact thing would probably fucking happen because it has a lot of the same messaging here, the same core themes. And there's a good bit of overlap, you know, that I feel that you can obviously see. To go back to the location thing, a little bit of trivia for you. In the original Silent Hill, Bless's uniform, which is why it looks off in some of the renders, it was actually like made in a Japanese fashion, you know what I mean? Because the team, you know, Team Silent, the people that made this, you know, the Japanese team in the Japanese studio that made this game, you know, even if it is like an American thing, they still like that influence, those ideas, everything, that's all kind of still there, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So that whole thing was like here from the start, you know what I mean? And besides, who says it has to necessarily be in an American place for it to be Silent Hill? It's obviously not Konami because they felt they could release this game. They marketed the fuck out of it. And hey, you know what? It still has the original formula. Like, you're still going through the map, going through different areas, battling enemies, you know, having health, stamina, picking up things. F actually has flavor text, which is great, a great addition for those not so much casual gamers who actually play the game and care about the characters. If you read the text that shows up whenever you interact with something, you might actually find out something about the game, the characters, the lore, the story that you might not have known otherwise. Okay, I get it. You know, the casual people that clicked on this video, you probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. And you know what? That's okay, but you shouldn't just blindly hate on something because it's new, because you don't understand some things. If you don't like it, that's fine, man, but at least try to understand it before you just shitting on it. Okay, the puzzles are still there. A lot of the doors not being interactable. Classic fucking staple right there. Bosses, yeah, that too. The classic hallmarks of a Silent Hill game. Okay, don't get me wrong. Would I say it's better than the originals? No, absolutely not. I don't think anything could possibly top a Team Silent game. Except maybe 4. I never really liked 4 as much as the other ones. Now F, I will praise it for being the first original thing in over a decade. Fucking fantastic. Blew it out of the water, my expectations. Great, okay. Really original take. I don't know who this Ryukishi guy is. Apparently some manga writer. Some highly acclaimed fucking, you know, everybody's jerking him off and, you know, eating him out at the same time. You know, I don't get it. It's not my thing. I don't really read manga. I've watched like 3 animes ever. Clannad, Yu Yu Hakusho. But hey, you know what? I like the originality. I like the idea. I like the concepts. I like the characters. Some of the characters. Some of them did feel bland, I will say that. But I feel like more than anything, it provides kind of a basis because it's set in the 60s, right? And that's like the most in the past game that we've had so far, because most of them have been set in modern day, at least the 2000s, right? So it helps to flesh out the world more. It tries to be different with a lot of its concepts, ideas. And you know what? I like that. Okay. If you consider the fact it's about a woman, about femininity, you know, there's a lot of messaging coding in that fashion. If you care to observe the environment and explore as you go along, not to mention some things being a little in your face, but that should be expected. I'll tell you what though, compared to a Western Silent Hill, like the 4 or 5 that came out after Team Silent, let's say Departure, those Western ones kind of fucking sucked, okay? Homecoming, I feel like, is one of the worst ones. And it was still okay, but it wasn't great. I'd struggle to say it was good. But hey, you know what? They tried, at least. Now, I feel like if F does well and continues to sell okay, then there's going to be more and more interest in keeping the series going. There already is, actually, with 2. And these, like 5 or 6 new things going on. Okay, Silent Hill Ascension completely fucking bombed. Everybody expected that. Especially with, the format, letting the audience pay themselves to come into the fucking, like what is that shit, dude? Nobody watched any of it, really, and for the ultra dedicated people out there that did to try and piece together their dog shit storyline, we applaud you, man, because that must have been hell to sit through. I truly am sorry. It was an attempt, I'll say that. It was certainly an attempt. But the point is that they're trying multiple different avenues here, okay? They've got that programming thing going on. They had the 2 remake at that time. They have F, that's 2 things. They have Townfall. So they announced like 4 or 5 different things at once. And I believe the 1 remake is announced for 2027. It might just be coming soon, but we should probably realistically expect 2027 or 2028, considering Bloober really got on that after they saw how well 2 did. They're like, okay man, this thing's got a few million plays, few million buys. We got it, man, you know what I mean? So we've got 1 on the way. And as long as these original Silent Hill games are selling well, then why wouldn't Konami? They'd be fucking stupid not to continue to work on the series, right? And to be honest, nobody wants remakes constantly, okay? Because you'll get bored of playing the same shit over and over and over. Nobody wants to do that, okay? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. All of the haters, 90% of them, they just care because it's a new thing. They don't care about some of them don't care about the actual game, okay? I'd say maybe 70% of them don't care about the actual game. They just care because they see it pop up on their feeds, their favorite content creators are talking about you, like it's in the news and shit, like they're reading and hearing about it, okay? But for people who actually care about the series, play the games, emulate them, go out and actually buy the shit on original hardware, they're already familiar with themes like this, with games, because they've played the fucking, you know what I mean? So it's really nothing new, okay? The only thing that's really new here is the gameplay, the areas, the world. the setting, I guess, overall really is the newest thing here, because nothing else is in an unfamiliar format. You know what I mean? Like I said, the puzzles, the gameplay. The only real different thing here is, I guess, to focus on melee and being able to repair weapons, because there's not really firearms, and it's understandable. It is a little irksome because I am used to the older games having guns and being able to shoot them. It was nice, you know, being able to distance yourself. But I guess for this one, they want you to get close and personal. Hey, you know what? I respect it. It's a bold take, but it is certainly different for somebody who's played a lot of them. I know that a lot of Silent Hill fans out there can get really pretentious. A lot like an English teacher that says, oh, the curtains are blue, so that means he has depression. That is the same vein in which a lot of this will go, because a lot of things aren't actually explained, or you're left to infer things, you're left to your own devices. So it's understandable why people might get carried away. You know, if you've just played Silent Hill 2 Remake for the first time, or you played the original 20 years ago, you probably might have heard, oh, well, James, you know, the rebirth theory that he's constantly in a loop, or that James is literally the entire town, you know, fighting himself. Like it's just stupid bullshit, okay? And I believe the rebirth theory, like the loop theory, was actually like hinted at by Bloober as they were making it. And there's been nods, okay, like how every corpse is James, but in a different state, okay? Shit like that lends credence to it, you know? So I can definitely understand you don't give a fuck about the older titles. You just played F because it has nice graphics, and you're like, okay, you know what? I kind of didn't mind too. Let's pick up F, and then you go to the subreddit, or you go to fucking YouTube. You go into the comments, and you just start arguing with a bunch of assholes. You know, Hanako starts losing her clothing, her outfit over the course of the game. So you'll probably have 10 different theories about why this is, because it isn't outright stated. And to be honest, if it is outright stated, then it's kind of like a death sentence, honestly. Because of how ambiguous and vague things are, if something is literally fucking like set in stone, that's it, man. There's nothing else they can do. So I guess it is better to leave things open-ended, especially for sequels. But in some ways, it isn't really always the best thing to do. So you win and you lose. If you had to ask me honestly, if this opens it up to Europe or Australia or Asia or you know, Antarctica, like other like I'm gonna say maybe, you know, I don't know. I feel like this was really a one-off thing. I feel like with a mixed reception, I feel like it is a little troubling. I'm going to say I don't think they're going to be doing it anywhere else. I feel like 90% of future titles, if we do get future titles, you know, future original titles, will be set in America, right? That's not going to say, like, it's not that I mean that it might not be set in Europe or some shit. Like, that'd be cool, right? Different cultures and shit. But then you'll circle back around to people whining and complaining, oh, this isn't Silent Hill because it isn't set in Silent Hill, the town. Well, they could always go the way of 3 and 4 and have the first half of the game be set somewhere, and then suddenly have the character have a motivation to go to the town itself, to get to the bottom of it, whatever, because they've already done it at least twice. Now, in terms of pre-orders, you know, exclusive content, that stupid bullshit, that's just par for the course at this point. Buying different editions of the game, you know, pre-ordering the game. That's a whole different thing entirely. I'm not going to really talk about that much, but for posterity's sake, you really shouldn't do it, okay? You're encouraging this type of shit. I know, you might get cool things, but you're just encouraging a vicious cycle here, man. Okay? You're opening up the gaming world more to microtransactions, to this stupid bullshit, to battle passes in every game, to monetizing almost every fucking visible thing. But it is Konami. That's what they do. I get it. That said, it is still a part of the game, so I wanted to you know, put it in here somewhere. I will say, having played on hard, the resources felt fairly balanced. I could complain, but I could also. It's hard to say because at times I definitely felt like I had to juggle a full inventory, but then other times I was like, damn, where is this shit at? So I feel like it might have been more on me as a player to keep track of my resources and pay attention, because it is hard, especially when things are following you, when you're in different sections running away from the fucking fog monster, fucking having your shit break and running around with no weapon at all because you already used your repair kits in a fight against a boss. You know, shit happens, like, because it happens, okay? You're constantly fighting enemies, constantly dying, feeling frustrated, stressed, okay? You're not paying attention. I'm gonna be real here. One little feature I would have liked. I was playing this on PC. I know that controller might be different, but you have 7 or 8 different keys that you can check to use an item, okay? So in other games, you can long press to have things show up before you actually use them. Whenever I played Silent Hill F, this didn't happen. So I had to like blindly use items or specifically remember where I put them, and it was kind of a pain in the ass because I don't have time to do this whenever I'm in a fight. You have like that split second, maybe under a second time reaction to spam shit to roll, like kind of like Dark Souls, you know what I mean? But you don't always have that time, so you just have to really guess, and sometimes you don't get what you're looking for. It's a real pain in the ass, you know what I mean? To just that's my one feedback thing that I would have to say above all, is to have like a long press to have it visible and pop up on the screen before you actually use it. Other games have used this, I don't know what you would call it, like a ghost feature, like just a pop-up, you know? I don't know what the fuck you call it. I'm not a developer, but I've seen other games use this all the time. Little nitpick. I liked the inclusions of faith in this game, okay? A lot of games demonize faith. A lot of games say, oh, you're literally like you're in some backwater country because you still you're not atheist, you know what I mean? So but this game tackles it differently. Praying in this game allows you to save. You can sacrifice items, so-called offerings, or different faith values. So items are more valuable than other items, which allows you to get what are they, Omamores or something? I can't remember the term exactly. However, these things allow you to get different abilities to enhance your gameplay just a little bit, like a little gameplay boost. And they're all slightly different, but every time you do it, the price of faith goes up if you don't find them out in the wild somewhere, which is a neat little feature. And I'm gonna admit, I really didn't use it much. I had like 2 or 3, and then I was like, okay, you know what? These are my main Omamores here, so this is what I'm using. And that was it, man. I usually used the stamina one or the health one. The line of sight one was really cool. I'm gonna be honest though, I feel like there wasn't a lot of time or ways to really avoid enemies. So I honestly just stuck to health or stamina, and I brute force that shit, which probably doesn't say a lot about me or my weapons or my resource management. So, but that's just the way I do shit. The puzzles weren't too bad. Compared to some of the older games, like the fucking Shakespeare, the literature book one in Silent Hill 3, the poem one, that shit. No, man. Like reading path, like no. Okay. These puzzles, they feel pretty grounded. Okay. I play the puzzles on hard, not Lost in the Fog, which I presume is the hardest difficulty. So I guess they could have been a lot harder, but for hard, it felt all right. You know what I mean? And if I had to rate the game, you know what? Everybody goes for 7, right? It's the basic bitch of the scale. I'm gonna go with a 6. I'm gonna go with a 6. You know what? Initially, I was going to say 8, but I feel like 8 is a bit much for it. I do like the themes. even if they do feel a little bit overplayed. I like the imagery. I fucking love the imagery, the flowers, the bold colors and shit, like how creative it is. I do enjoy the originality and the novelty, which definitely brings it up in my eyes. But, and like I said, the gameplay, puzzles, the map, everything, like literally the basic gameplay loop, everything of a Silent Hill game is there, right? The bare bones foundation is there, which is great. So it's not horrible. It presents its ideas, and compared to Western games, which totally fucking suck, you know, Shattered, what fuck, man, what is it called? Book of Memories, and the other one, Shattered something. They fucking suck, dude. So this one is definitely a middle ground between Team Silence originals and those Western ones. This one fits nicely in the middle, and I'm not at all ashamed to say that. I feel like no matter what game is released, there's always going to be lovers and there's always going to be haters, and you can't change that. But it is really polarizing to see this kind of shit, especially on the first original game we've had for this series in over a decade. Like I've said, I know it gets repetitive. I know you don't want to hear it, but it's hard to state how important this is to be happening at all for Konami to bring the series back, to even try, really, because there was a lot of investment here. But they obviously feel that there is something considering the performance thus far.